Okay, today we are going to go over a secondary method of cloning hard drives that I found works for PlayStation and Linux. So here is the old hard drive. It's going to be mounted under /dev/SDD, and the new hard drive is going to be mounted under /dev/SDC. So let's go ahead and get these plugged into our Linux computer and see if Linux recognizes them, and we'll keep going on from there. Okay, so now that we have our hard drives connected up to our Linux machine, let's run a couple commands to make sure that Linux can actually see them. So the first command we want to try is lsblk. And if we're looking here, yes, we can see. So SDC, which is our new hard drive, is showing up pretty much blank, so that's good. That's what we want. And SDD is right here, so that's very good. Linux can see both of our hard drives. Let's check something else here. Let's check the df command. Type enter. And if you notice here, only SDD1 is showing up. The reason is because SDC, which is our completely blank hard drive, doesn't have a file system on it yet. So it's not going to show up using the df command. So another tool I like to use just to make sure everything is kosher before we do this disk copy is the KDE partition manager. It gives you a graphical interface rather than a command line, so it's a little bit easier to understand sometimes. So over here on the left we have our SDC, which is showing up unallocated and unknown, and that makes sense because there's no file system on the new hard drive yet. And this is the old hard drive with all the data on it. If you notice here, it's only showing up as 7.4 gigabytes. That's because I'm not actually using those sample hard drives. This is just a demonstration, but everything is going to work identical. If I was cloning 500 gig hard drives, it would take forever. So using these two USB drives is going to make it go way faster. So now that we've verified that, let's go back over to our command line, and we are going to type in our actual cloning command. So to start with, we need to type in sudo, since this is an administrative operation, dd, which is actually the cloning command, if equals, and this is going to be our old hard drive, so /dev/SDD. So I wouldn't recommend typing in SDD1 here because SDD1 is actually the partition, and if you type in SDD1 it won't copy the whole hard drive, just that partition, so make sure you're doing SDD. Okay, let's keep going. Space OF, which is the new hard drive, equals /dev/SDC. And what we want to do here is, so we're actually getting a status update, is let's give it the option status equals progress. If you forget the status equals progress at the end of this, it will go ahead and it'll still clone the hard drive, but it won't give you any status updates, and it's extremely nerve-wracking not getting any updates. So I'll go ahead, I'll enter this command. And of course, it's going to ask for our administrative password. Type that in and hit enter. And as you can see, we're actually getting a status, and that's great. So this is probably going to take about 10 minutes or so. I'll pause the video here and pick back up whenever it's done. Okay, so as you can tell by the status update down here, the cloning process is complete. We've copied 7.5 gigabytes out of the 8 gigabytes total, and it took about 500 seconds or about 16 megabytes per second. So as you can see, had we done a full 500 gig hard drive like I showed earlier, it would have taken way longer. So that, since this is just an example, it was way better to do it this way, but the process is identical. So just to check and make sure that it worked 100%, let us switch over to the KDE partition manager, and you can see here SDC, we have 3 separate partitions, and SDD, we also have 3 separate partitions, so it looks identical, which is exactly what we wanted. So we can call this a successful cloning process. So like I said before, this is the only process I've found that actually works for any Linux-based system, either, a regular Ubuntu, anything Linux, or even a PS4 or PS4 hard drive. I'm assuming even the PS3. I haven't tried it. But yeah, anything Linux-based, this is the only process I found that actually works. For some reason, the layer 1 copying on the Sabrent didn't work. I don't know why, but this process worked fine. So that should be about it. Thanks for watching.